Yeah, each one, teach one. Just a song, lang alin na banda. Education is key to success. We haven't taught up anything. Yeah, each one, have to teach one. Must bomb the sound one. We haven't taught us. Each one, got to teach one. Let's learn from one another. Let's go.
I'm 27 years old. Selagacha when I was 11 months old from a candle. People say that I'm ugly, and I feel ugly. I feel like I'm a ghost, and I just don't want to live.
Hello, I'm Khalil Osiris. Welcome to Each One, Teach One. Life can be challenging for many South Africans. The lack of basic services in the past has shaped the future for many, including Tumi, who was severely burned when a candle set the family home alight when she was only 11 months old. Listen to her story.
I am 27 years old. I'm originally Soshanguve, however, I live in Johannesburg. Selagacha when I was 11 months old from a candle.
Has fetsa robala and then maybe get some care good then room.
And then the candle fell over the bed.
I went back to the bedroom. And I can get candle ela name so or what happened, I don't know. But my daughter was Benny. I got a petticoat and then get a towel like a someone. I can make a TV. I can see towel each. I throw hella more mumpetong. That's young one, like a motzia Mulola Watima old. Then I rush out from the house, kiss screamer. Mushimanamong Angudra, Abar Ausipatiki, Karanaka Chile. At Otsangwanola Mona, Rayako Bastopo, Arabanama Wanakoloi, how Mawanala Aima can't just a text. Ramokopela Rare, Arzarisokuchubi, Wanaka was not crying. Hunter Abutola a driver, Rafika Moplego, maybe Zorki Post Plus, one Ebelhono Gugua, Allah. Abutola Rashitamuspetla, by its face 8, Bamo attended it very soon. By its face 8, Bamon Tamangina, Mangenda, for had its ebe. Svatlosa high, Nestle cracked, O Carponalema fool. Bones were exposed. My right hand is amputated, as well as my 4 fingers on my left. My face is scarred, as well as the right side of my body. Dr. She's feeling pains. And I'm not sure because how now the drips and the veins. The tissues are bent. How about injecting injection one or I could because really she's struggling. Again, Doctor, you dare. I dare found my child dead. You'll know me. Or I was in another world. Next, I concentrating more anything. How can one check it? Why guess I cannot to someone? I was in hospital for a very, very long time. I was in a coma for 3 months. I taught for 8 years. I won't be able to teach other children when I get aliso. I want to take care of my child myself. Then Professor Khalil until Kim Hospital Prof. Try by all means or look someone again because she's still small. The operations time and again for us go
I have over 100 surgical operations on me, and every single school holiday, I would be in hospital for some sort of a surgery that had to be constructed. And I've had my operations until the age of 15 years.
My worry, ha ne ke lebella ngwana ka ne ke re o tlo lebella lefatshe le bjang. Be ke motsa ke misa go boarding school. Reason being, ke sa batla ngwana ke a idle fela mo gae go sena anything a etsang. I was thinking about her future. Hore, what if I drop dead? Who's going to take care of this child? Ere ke motsa ke misa boarding school hore a kgona ba independent.
Ne ke mo hloile because I felt like she was sending me away so that she can be away from such a problem. Maybe she just hated the way I look like, so therefore she just wants to send me away from her pretty kids.
If ne ke misa to a local school, ne ba tlo phela ntse ba mo teaser every day, and ne tlo ba yana ali one ali disabled. So go ke misa ko tene le disability school.
As a young girl, I had a very, very low self-esteem because of how I look like, because of how my burns are, and etc. And that was only emphasized more when my fellow learners would always tease me about how I look like. I was teased a lot. I would be called a lot of names, and a lot of franchise names like your KFCs, your Chicken Licken, and that just crippled my confidence, you know. And because of that, I've tried committing suicide 3 times. My first suicide attempt, I was in grade 5, and my last suicide attempt, I was in grade 11. And then my second one, I was 15 years old. I think when you get to the bridge of trying to commit suicide, then you know that you've got absolutely no hope. You're at a point in your life where you're like, you know what, screw this thing called life, you know? All I want to do is just die. What kind of a life am I going to have? I mean, people say that I'm ugly, and I feel ugly. I feel like I'm a ghost, and I just don't want to live, you know? And that's how I felt back then. In matric, and then I started seeing the advantages of being at such a school, you know. And then I realized that my mom actually loved me, you know, for who I am, and that she's done everything in her power to make sure that I received the best. And above all, my mama would always tell me how beautiful I am, and the fact that she loves me and that she's doing this for me. You know what I'm saying?
Let's learn from one another. Let's go.
Welcome back. Many of us are faced with challenges early in life that could limit our belief in what we can achieve and place us in a prison of self-imposed limitations. But not Tumi. She shares with us her journey to personal freedom despite a tragic accident that could have broken her spirit.
Like, you grow up learning and hearing all of these things of how powerful God is, you know. And then you realize that, okay, if you're so powerful and so good, then why did you allow this to happen to me? I'm not growing up as any normal child, you know. I mean, life is screwing me over, and then you call yourself God, really? You know what I'm saying? So I hated anything that had to do with this supreme God, you know what I'm saying? Then I went to a friend of mine's house, and her sister then took us to church, you know. And a pastor called the Pastor Makope, about God and about who he is, you know. And at that moment, for some reason, I then gave my life to Christ, you know, and my life changed. Everything of my life changed. So in 2009, Selekaya UJ, the University of Johannesburg, and Neki Stadisha Media, known as a BA or Audiovisual Communications degree, and dude, like you get 5,000 learners, you know. And I had come from a background where not really 30 in one class. 30 kids to 5,000 able-bodied learners got me to a point where I had such a low self-esteem where I felt like they were all looking at me. And then with how I'm writing, with how I'm doing stuff, you know. And that just got me to a point where I was like, okay, no, you know what? I cannot do this anymore. And then I resorted to Khodula address. And then I did that for 6 months. And then June came, and then I failed. I've always been very strong at school, you know, and that was my scapegoat of achieving. And then I realized that, okay, fine, Khakata UJ for people. I came to UJ for my purpose. So in the beginning of my media career, Nekili, an intern at One Gospel for a couple of months, I think 5 months or so. I then moved to Friends Like These. That's where I met Sibusiso Liope, known as DJ Sbu. And then from there, we went to Metro FM for a couple of years. I was his content producer. And then I was then a project manager for Sibusiso Liope's foundation. While I was in the media industry, Nekiboni, a lot of celebrities that would become brand ambassadors for brands. So then I was like, no, you know what, since they've done it, then so can I, you know. Not that I'm a celebrity or anything, but I wrote a letter to Dove, and then I asked them to be their brand ambassador. And then I came up with the concept of traveling to schools around South Africa and then motivating the kids based on what has happened to me. They liked the idea, and 2 years ago we started, and I'm still the face of Dove. So 9.5 months ago, I gave birth to 2 candlelets, you know. And I call them 2 candlelets because my life changed from a candle. So a candle can destroy, but a candle can also give light, you know. And I gave birth to 2 of them, you know. They are my light, you know. They're my world. And when I gave birth to them, I remember the very, very first day. I said, nurse, I want my kids here, you know. And she was like, no, 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 you have to sleep. And I was like, please bring them here. And when my babies came, I think one of my fears were, will I be able to carry them at the same time, you know. And the nurse brought them, and I did, you know. And that was one of the proudest moments of my life as a mother of twins, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a blessing. Can I just flaunt one more? I'm the first one in the family of their entire Seku family with twins, you know? So, I mean, that's a blessing. One of my fears is that my kids' fellow learners at school would tease them because of how their mother looks like, you know. So of making their lives now hard for them to adapt to the fact that, shucks, actually, you know, my mom is actually burnt, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's something else for learners to tease you with something that's not real, but when they start teasing you with something that you can also see, that can make their life now hard. In terms of motivating, it's success. I love to be successful. I've got a lot of dreams. And to bring hope and healing to people through my story. And what makes me wake up in the morning, it is to give people as much hope as possible. If I can do it with one hand and one thumb, what is it that's stopping you?
Let's learn from one another. Let's go.
Well, first of all, I want to just say I'm so happy to be doing this story today with you and your mother. And Tumi, I want to start with what do you feel is your greatest blessing?
Wow. I think my greatest blessing is the fact that I got burnt at the age of 11 months. And I'm sure people are like, what do you mean? I mean that it has changed my life. It has changed the my purpose, you know. And I feel like a purpose of giving hope and healing to millions and millions of people is the highest calling of helping someone else live their life to the fullest.
You know, there's a lot of things that have been said about the incident that led to the burning and everything. What I'd like to focus on is one of the things that you said that was a challenge is when you go into public places and people will stare and those kinds of things. What has been for you the greatest way that you have come to accept that and grow from it and move on?
I had to make a decision that, okay, fine, it's either you're going to live with this or it's either you're going to turn this around. And because I've been in the media industry for so long, I was then surrounded by a lot of celebrities. So now each and every time when I would walk around with one, everybody would stare at them. So I then reached a point in my life where I was like, okay, so if everybody's staring at him or her, then if everyone is staring at me, then that means that I'm some sort of a celebrity in this room, right? So I then started loving it, yeah.
Wow.
And I had to change the way I see things.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same thing. However, because of my thoughts and because of my perceptions about how people are then staring at me, so now it's become a blessing instead of a negative thing, which it was for 19 years.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
One of the things that I learned along the way about my own life was that all power starts with self-perception.
Yeah.
It's how we see ourselves. That's the starting point for
Yeah.
it.
If you believe that you are beautiful, then you will become a beautiful young lady. If you believe that, oh my gosh, I'm ugly, I've got scars, no one will ever love me, then that is exactly what will happen.
That's a lesson for all of us. As her mother, when you would go out and encounter other people, how did you experience it?
Lots of people really, they were staring at her and they didn't know what they're doing in my heart. Though she couldn't react, I was the person who was reacting. I used to say, why are you looking at my daughter like this? Is it for the first time you see such things? Then she said, Mommy, leave them.
She said that to you?
Yes. So I learned that you must accept the things that you cannot change. Then I accepted people who are looking at my daughter. Maybe other people that they were looking at her, feeling pity, or they wanted to know exactly what happened on her.
There's one other question I had to get into this. You have twins.
Yes, I've got twins.
And you call them what? Candlettes?
I call them candlelets. It comes from the concept of having a candle that burnt me, a candle that almost wanted to destroy my life, a candle who had a purpose of saying, okay, fine, I'm going to kill you. However, a candle also has light. So when I saw my little bundle of joys, I was like, you know what? These are my two candles, and they are now bringing light into my world.
I just have to say, you know, one of the other things about a candle is that as it shares its light, it's consumed of itself. In other words, it sacrifices itself for the light of others.
Sure.
Clearly you have done that as her mother. And that quality, I see it in you. The sacrifices you're making, the courage that it takes, and the spiritual fortitude that it takes and has taken for you to get to where you are now. You have been a candle. So it's only fitting that you would give birth to candles, to those who would be lights for the world as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, as Christ said, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven.
Sure.
With Each One Teach One, we have a tradition at the end of each show. We give a candle. This candle is a candle of hope. I think that you are one of the most amazing people I've ever met. Having looked at my own life and thinking of the things that we make excuses for, and to see you get up every day and declare what you're going to do in spite of. May you continue to be the light that God has created you to be.
Thank you. My take on beauty is that it comes from within, and then it resonates on the external. So your soul is the one that is beautiful and sexy, and then your external will then be reflected from how your soul is.
It's often said that everything happens for a reason. In the case of Tumi, she took something tragic and made something beautiful of it. What I'd like you to think about as you watch this show is that everything in your life has an opportunity to be something good. Like Tumi, find the good, seek it out, and let it be your story. I'm Khalil Osiris. This is Each One Teach One, and until we meet again, stay in the light.